Good evening. I'd like to call the village board meeting for the Village of Cary for Tuesday, August 18th, 2020 to order. We do have a quorum of village board members in physical attendance at the meeting tonight. However, as authorized by the Illinois Open Meetings Act, village board members Cavelli, Kraus, and Weinhammer will be participating remotely due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Roll call, please.
Betts.
Here.
Collier.
Here.
Cavelli.
Trustee Cavelli, are you there?
Might be on mute.
Trustees Kraus or Weinhammer, are you there?
I'm here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we're waiting on Trustee Cavelli. All right, we'll circle back. Continue.
Kraus.
Here.
McAlpine.
Here.
Weinhammer.
Here.
Thank you. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now move to the open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. I'm not aware of anybody that has signed in. People here are for village business. A couple things on my mayor's report. I have a proclamation for the Chamber of Commerce Week, September 14th through the 18th, 2020. Whereas the Cary Grove Area Chamber of Commerce works with businesses, merchants, and industry to advance the civic, economic, industrial, professional, and cultural life of the Village of Cary. And whereas this year marks the 101st anniversary of the founding of the Illinois Chamber of Commerce, the state's leading broad-based business organization. And whereas the Chamber of Commerce and its members provide citizens with strong business environment that increases employment, the retail trade and commerce, and industrial growth in order to make the Village of Cary a better place to live. And whereas the Chamber of Commerce encourages the growth of existing industries, services, and commercial firms, and encourages new firms and individuals to locate in the Village of Cary. Now, therefore, I, Mark Koenig, Mayor of the Village of Cary, do hereby proclaim September 14th through the 18th, 2020 as Chamber of Commerce Week in the Village of Cary, and call its significance to the citizens of the Village of Cary, dated this 18th day of August 2020. We have Lynn Cacavello here she's the president or CEO now of the Cary Grove Chamber of Commerce, and I want to give her a heartfelt thanks for helping us through this COVID-19 pandemic and helping our businesses have a place to go to get the resources they need. In conjunction with the Village of Cary, we are very grateful for your service that you provide. We truly believe that the Chamber of Commerce is a strong economic arm to the Village of Cary, and we thank you for everything that you do. So I'd like to present you with this. Beautiful with our new logo and everything on it. Doesn't that look snappy? And this is Scott Lynn. He's on the executive board too. We're good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. One other thing on my report I wanted to announce, we have confirmed with all of our trustees that we will officially be having our groundbreaking for our new facility, our new municipal complex that will be constructed on the corner of Georgetown and Industrial Drive. That'll be September 29th at 5 p.m. We will be sending out invitations and the public will be notified and they will be welcome to attend as well. I'm not aware of any trustee reports, so I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda number 1 through 5 as shown on the village's website and is displayed on the video monitor during the village board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Cavalli has her hand up.
Trustee Cavalli?
Yeah, I'm on the phone now. I could hear you guys before, but apparently you couldn't hear me.
Okay. You're noted that you're here. Thank you. Did you have any comments about the
Thank you.
consent agenda?
No.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Betts,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Weinhammer.
Yes.
Thank you. And items for separate action, I will entertain a motion to approve an ordinance amending section 10.32.005, parking prohibited of the municipal code for the 260 feet of West Margaret Terrace west of Alden Drive.
So moved.
Second. Eric, are you going to take this?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. As the board may recall, at our last committee of the whole meeting, we discussed the proposed modification to the parking restrictions on Margaret Terrace, west of Elton Drive. This is a request made by one of the residents in that stretch of the roadway. Just a quick recap, the original request and what was discussed and reviewed at the last committee meeting was a proposal to restriction on the north side of the road in the area where the road was wider than the rest of the stretch of Margaret Terrace. And prior to that, roads of a certain width or less were restricted to parking on one side in order to make sure that emergency vehicles and two-way traffic could safely navigate those roadways. So at the last meeting, we did review this particular stretch of the road and this proposal. And you can see here in red is where if the change were considered as proposed and discussed last time, the red would indicate where parking would still be restricted. And that's in front of driveways adjacent to crosswalks, and then the stretch of the roadway that does narrow down to, I believe, below 26 feet. One alternative upon review of one of the comments of another resident on the street who had concerns about the hill as you go westward on Margaret Terrace. There's a crest right approximately here, about halfway between that wide section of road. And then as you approach the park, it goes downhill on a fairly steep grade. So with that comment, we can take a look at that stretch one more time. And if the board did wish to consider adjusting the parking restrictions to allow some parking on both sides, one option would be to only allow that parking to occur on both sides at the top of the hill. So that once you reach that crest of the hill, where the sight lines do drop off a bit, we would maintain that no parking on the north side, in an attempt to help maximize the sight lines as much as possible. And then obviously the third option that the board could consider would be to not change any of the restrictions at all and maintain the current proposed restrictions as they are. And obviously that maintain and meet all of the safety issues and concerns that staff had when it was first enacted. But if the board would like to consider a modification, any of the two options just mentioned before could be considered and still meet the intent of the original adjustments that we made for those narrow roadways. So with that, Chief Owen and I are happy to answer any questions.
Any comments or questions from the village board?
My comment would be that when we talked about this last time, we talked about where it starts to narrow and that's where we were going to look to change it. And I'm just trying to look for consistency within the village as often as possible. And I think I understand some of the concerns that were raised, but I think some of those concerns should be addressed in a separate matter. If people are speeding, then that's something that we can look at putting one of the speed signs where we're watching what the speed is, or the police can be looking to watch over there a little bit more closely. So I am fine with sticking with the option that we came up with the original request.
Thank you, Trustee McAlpine. I do want to point out that the motion as written did have the proposed alternate modification.
Yeah, I see that.
If there is a desire to go to the original version where the entire road that's wider does have parking on both sides,
Sure.
The motion should be amended. That's you.
Well, I would go either way with the 1 or 2, but I'm fine with either way. Depends on what the rest of the board feels about it.
I'm just getting a clarification here.
This is Kim, I have a question.
Go ahead, trustee Cavelli.
With the options that are presented with the restrictions listed, the 1 and number 2, does it pose any challenges if like emergency vehicles or buses or anything else is trying to get through a roadway if vehicles are parked on both sides?
No, the width of the roadway with cars parked on both sides would allow an emergency vehicle to pass through. The only instances where it may be a little more challenging is if there's a continuous stretch of cars parked
Give it the motion.
and another car is coming the opposite direction of the emergency vehicle, but obviously they tend to hear and see those vehicles approaching with their lights and sirens, and there's no driveways to pull off to the side to get out of the way.
Okay, if that's the case, with the crest that you pointed out, I'd be more inclined to be in favor of 2 over 1.
Okay, trustee Collier, trustee Betts, any comments? Okay.
As long as it's safe to pass through, I'm fine with number 1 also.
I'm fine with number 1 also.
Okay.
The-
Trustee Weinhammer or Kraus, any comments?
I'm actually not in favor of either of them.
I would prefer to just keep it the way it is, as it is.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is to amend the motion to include the original request to allow parking on the north side where streets widen for 490 feet west of Eldon Drive.
Correct. So do you need a motion then?
Yes.
Yes.
So that is, Eric, this is Scott, is that specific enough to reference the original plan, even though it's not the precise language of the current draft of the ordinance?
Option 1.
Yes. The plan as discussed did have a specific measurement, which I believe was 860 feet west of Eldon Drive.
We can make that part of your motion, that reference.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion then to amend it to how it was the original. I'm not sure how to word that properly.
Well, to include in the motion to allow the parking on the north side where the street
Street
widens
widens.
for 490 feet west of Eldon Drive.
Okay.
Do I have a second on that?
Second,
Can I have a roll call on that, please?
Collier,
yes.
Cavelli,
No.
Kraus,
No,
McAlpine,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
No,
Betts,
Yes,
and Mayor Koenig.
Yes.
Thank you. So we will match that ordinance up to read with option 1 as shown on the screen currently.
Thank you. Moving forward to administrator's report.
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Department reports, Chief Finland. Director Morimoto, anything for us?
Yes, just one little update here. We have 3 sidewalk projects that are about to begin construction here in town. The first one, the downtown sidewalk widening, which is over at the corner of West Main Street and Spring Street. That'll begin sometime this week. We're still working with the contractor to nail down the exact date, but that work is expected to begin any day now. The 2020 sidewalk extensions, which is a DCEO grant-funded project to fill in some gaps in the center of town. That project is expected to begin next week. And that's in 3 locations, one on Oil Trail, one on Sandra Lane, and one on Frankie Avenue. Then our third sidewalk project, which is 100% funded by a Safe Routes to School grant. That is the West Main Street sidewalk extension and the safety median over at Wolf Street. That will begin September 1st. That's all I have.
I think it can't be understated. Director Morimoto had mentioned the grants that are paying for the majority of the sidewalk work. It's impressive how many grants that we get here from a staff level. We appreciate the support of the village board from the project perspective, but also all the hard work that staff puts into this to attain those grants.
Thank you. Couldn't agree more. Thank you very much, Director Morimoto. Moving on to future agenda items and discussion by village board. I think Trustee McAlpine had something.
I do. I have two things. First of all, I just want to raise our blue to the blue. We're in the competition against the fire department, so we are, cheers to the blue. But my future agenda item that I want to talk about is food trucks and our ordinances with them and just kind of visiting that. I think that we're finding with how things have changed, that those are going to be more prevalent in our area. And I just want to make sure that we're current with it, up to date. If there's anything we need to do to change it, I think it's important for us to look at it.
And is the rest of the board supportive of that discussion?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Trustee Weinhammer?
yes, that's fine.
Trustee Cavelli? Trustee Cavelli?
That's all right, we have a majority.
Oh, we have a majority anyway, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sorry. Betts,
Yes?
Collier,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yeah?
Kraus,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Weinhammer.
Yes.
Thank you. We will boot up in just a minute.